Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So tonight I want to discuss a snippet of an interview that I recently saw featuring popular actress Erika Januza. I featured Erika in a number of articles on the blog over the years, and this interview popped up on Instagram probably either yesterday or the day before. And so I thought, considering the topic that I've been talking a lot about lately, I thought this would be it's a video I definitely needed to discuss. So in this short clip, the actress discussed a common theme among Black Brazilian women: experiences in relationships, being seen as a romantic option, as well as being hidden away by men she dated. I first became aware of Erika Januza in 2012 when she starred in the global TV miniseries Suburbia. This is a still from that particular miniseries. To tell you the truth, I actually discovered her before Suburbia. I remember, a lot of Brazilian actresses and just people, in the media, they'll do these photo essays, these photo shoots, very, really nice photo layouts, right? And I just remember, I think it was, I don't know, I think it was something like paparazzo or something like that. And it was some very tasteful pictures. I remember she had like a long, I'm quite sure that was a weave that she was wearing. It was like very straight. It was, down her back. And then shortly afterward, that's when I saw her appear in this short miniseries. I think it was only 4 episodes. It was called Suburbia. And people, Black Brazilians have been starving for representation in Brazil's media for years. So when this series was announced and it was shown that it would have like a 90% Black cast, people were all applauding. They were anxiously, anticipating this series. And within 1 or 2 episodes, you started seeing just the same stereotypes started popping up with the Black population. It gives credence to the idea, like, if you want to see yourself presented in a particular light, you have to be behind the camera as the director. And particularly over the last 10 to 15 years, I've seen a number of Afro-Brazilian directors come up, getting their work recognized. So just, I'm almost thinking like they do need to the development of what they call cinema negro, Black cinema, where there's Black themes, there's primarily Black cast and Black directors, so that they can tell their story the way that they feel like it needs to be told without it coming across as, decades long stereotypes about Black Brazilians, right? So 2012 was the miniseries Suburbia. Now, Januza hails from the city of Contagem, which is a suburb of one of Brazil's largest cities, Belo Horizonte, located in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. She comes from a humble family and went into a state of depression after the death of her, I shouldn't say family, the death of her father. Always receiving compliments on her beauty, she began to compete in local beauty contests, and she came out, as the winner of a number of them. She soon started to participate in acting auditions, and after winning a beauty contest that had more than 2,000 contestants, she ended up getting the role of the lead character of the aforementioned miniseries Suburbia. The short-lived series was a success that ended up changing her life. At that point, she decided to move to the city of Rio de Janeiro to pursue her passion for acting full time. Okay. Since then, she has been featured prominently in various novellas, Brazil's soap operas, such as Infamília from 2014, Sol Nascente in 2016, O Outro Lado do Paraíso in 2017, and Amor de Mãe in 2019. Now, remember, Amor de Mãe was a lot of global television novellas. Again, Rede Global being Brazil's top television network, hands down. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but for years, Global would get, double the audience of its second closest competitor. It was just like Global and everybody else for a while. Now, Amor Jimai was it was a popular novella in 2019, and it actually got interrupted because of the whole COVID-19 thing that went down. They stopped filming for a while and picked it up later on. Now besides other novellas, I mean, these are not, I just mentioned these four novellas plus the miniseries. Erika is probably, I don't know, she's appeared in maybe a 10, 11, 12 novellas by this point. She's also appeared in theater pieces as well as a film. The actress has also found time to participate in themes for various samba schools and Rio de Janeiro's world famous Carnival. Um, she also participated in a segment of this popular variety show called uh, Domingão do Faustão. And on that variety show has been on for a number of years. I think Faustão moved his show over to another television network. Not sure if that guy's still on television or he retired, but there was a segment on there that was called Dança dos Famosos, and it was kind of like a copy of what was the name of that series? Dancing with the Stars. A lot of Brazilian shows, either the networks would just televise American shows and put Brazilian overdubs in Portuguese, or they'll try to copy the series, right? So they tried to copy Dancing with the Stars in this segment called A Dança dos Famosos. And Erika Januza appeared in one of those as a contestant in a few of them, right? So well-rounded young lady, very attractive young lady. But this particular episode, like I said, this video, I'm going to be focusing more on what she's had to say about her relationships. It's very intriguing what she said, but let me keep talking a little bit more about her. Um, as I mentioned in the intro, Januza's recent interview touched on aspects of her personal life and how she has come to see herself after her dating experiences. In 2015, the actress dated Eduardo Alves, who is a goalie or was a goalie for a very popular soccer squad. Of course, soccer being hands down the most popular sport in Brazil. And with the end of that relationship, she began seeing the businessman of Victor Evangelista, which was another relationship that would come to an end. Then at the end of 2020, she raised eyebrows when she started a new romance with plastic artist Juan Nakamura, a man 14 years her junior. Januza was 35 at the time, while Nakamura was just 21. That relationship, too, came to an end in January of this year. The Kane magazine talking about it, Erika Januza and Juan Nakamura in their dating after almost 3 years. So this is from, I think it was January 2023. So it lasted, I think, about 3 years here. So, I think Erika is about, if she is not, she will be 38 this year. And, I'm quite sure she has to be wondering, at 38, when will it be time for her to be able to tie the knot? When will she have a relationship that's going to be long lasting, that's going to, end up at the altar where she gets married and have some children? And I know she has probably be wondering that right now, you know. Um, Now, with her relationships, I'm sure you noticed something with the men that she's dated. I didn't, this question of palmitaging has been one that's been hot in Brazil for at least, I want to say maybe 10 years now. Originally, the topic of palmitaging was something that Black Brazilian women would make accusations against Black Brazilian men. Palmitaging meaning that Black men had this preference for dating non-Black women when it came time for long-term relationships. It was often said like, they would date Black women, before they were famous, before they got rich. They would date Black women for, situationships or friends with benefits type of thing. And they would always say, well, I'm not ready for a long-term relationship. They would end it with the Black girl and then end up, walking the streets holding hands with a white woman. It's like, you just said you didn't want a long-term relationship, and then you pop up with a white girl, you're holding hands publicly. So as this accusation started getting bigger, Black Brazilian women were able to take this particular argument and accusation to the media. And for years, this idea of a solidão de mulher negra, the solitude of the Black woman, the loneliness of the Black woman has been a hot topic. Not only was it just a topic that would never end on social networks, they got, some popular media outlets like mainstream websites and even uh, television programs to discuss this issue. Black men in turn turned it around on Black women. It says, well, who are you to point the finger? Most of you guys, most of you women don't want just everyday Black men. You want the cream of the crop Black men. You want the tall, the handsome, the rich, you know, and you don't give attention to the regular guys. So this is something that Black Brazilian men have, they've this has been their response to the accusation in the first place. I think a little bit of that is going on both sides. So quite honestly, this is not to say I understand what has gone on with her personal life, because I don't know Erika Januza, so I can't make a judgment. But I will say I've never seen her in a public relationship with a Black male. If you look at the pictures, they've all been white men, or I think this guy is of Japanese descent, actually. And, there's been a lot of talk in the United States about women who are in the entertainment business, singers or actresses or whatever. And a lot of them are married to either younger men or men who are not at the same social or financial position that they're in. Have to almost wonder, is that the same thing that's going on with Erika Januza now, right? So after one relationship after another with a non-Black man, the website, or not the website, but the Facebook page of a group called Força Africa started calling Erika Januza out. What did they have to say? So the argument for most Black women is that Black women don't palmita because they don't have the power of choice. So we're turning the palmitar word in palmitar, meaning Black women don't just swirl and get with white men. They don't prefer white men. Black women, the argument said that they turn to white men because they can't get long-term relationships with Black men. That's been the argument. That may or may not be true. Força Africa posted on Erika Januza's choices of men at that time, and they says, could it be that a woman like Erika Januza is totally deprived of the power to choose with whom she has relationships with? It goes on. Was there no Black man on the face of the earth that wanted to have a relationship with her? Her love history contradicts the fierce apology for a solidão da mulher negra, again, meaning the loneliness of Black women. Erika proves by A plus B that palmitaging has no gender. It has practice and something about choice and decision. This serves to defunct the attempts to take a gender angle on interracial relationships, which exempts one side while vilifying the other. So what the Facebook page of Força Africa is saying, it's like, okay, you vilify Black men when they date interracially, but when Black women do it, they're exempt from criticism. Like, okay, we don't have a choice. We have to date white men because Black men don't give us attention, right? Like I said, the situation in Brazil is just complex, right? You have both sides slinging mud at each other, talking about, no, you're the one who have a preference for white people, right? So Januza recently recorded a video in an interview, and she talked a little bit about her relationships. She's talked about her experiences in her relationships. So I wanted to feature some of the things that she said in that interview. So let me get to that.
Eu
I
estava
was looking
olhando, porque eu
because I
nunca
was never an
era
option.
uma
I
opção.
could be a hidden
Eu poderia
option
ser uma
without
opção
anyone knowing,
escondida,
but
sem
now an
ninguém
option to
saber.
say I'm with
Mas
that
agora uma opção
person
para dizer
or
estou
I'm
com aquela
interested in
pessoa ou
Erica.
estou interessado na
That
Érica,
I wasn't an
isso não
option.
era uma
That's
opção.
just not my
E eu tenho
story.
certeza que essa não é
This
uma
is a
história
story
só
of a
minha.
generation
Essa
of
é uma
Black
história
girls who
de uma
think that this
geração
should
de
still
meninas pretas
happen.
que acham que isso ainda
Today, I
deve
think it's a
acontecer.
little
Hoje
less
acho que um
because
pouco
today Black
menos,
beauty is
porque
more
hoje
valued.
a beleza
People
negra é
understand that I
mais
am beautiful,
valorizada,
that
as
Black
pessoas
women are
entendem
beautiful.
que eu
But there
sou
was a
bonita sim,
time,
que a mulher
and it
negra é
still
bonita sim,
happens,
mas
where the
teve um
Black woman was
momento, e
like
ainda
this,
acontece,
to
onde
be
a mulher
hidden.
negra era tipo assim, para ficar escondido. E eu
And
ainda
I still
passo
go
por
through
isso.
that. And it's something
E
that
é uma
needs to
coisa que
change.
precisa mudar.
Okay, now, so you heard what Erica had to say about that. One thing particularly that I want to point out here, well, a couple of things here. She said she was never she was never an option. Um, I'm assuming she was talking about some of her recent relationships or dating going all the way back to maybe when she was a young adult, just not being the option for the long-term relationship. She says that's her story. And this is when you go on to social networks, you read stories of these Black Brazilian women, and many of them have this same story. So where she says this is a story of a generation of Black girls, just, I mean, I've read thousands of these comments and I know that to be true. A lot of Black women have had the same complaint that she's had. She's also true. She's also right when she says that it's a little bit more open in Brazil for people to respect and have appreciation for the beauty of Black women. But the one problem that she's pointing out here is this idea of being hidden away. Like Black women will be in these relationships with men who don't want to be seen in a relationship with them publicly. And this is a word that consistently comes up. You consistently hear uh, about, well, he wants to be with me, or he doesn't seem to want to be with me, because he doesn't seem to want to let the world know that he's with me. So then here's an article I have from 2015. Does love have a standard? Does love have a color? Damn straight. And in Brazil, that color is not black. Black women speak out. So, using the word hidden, take a look at this. This is, a Black woman who wrote this article. And listen to what she says. The Black woman suffers from loneliness more than any other woman because when she relates to white men or white women, they just want, in a hidden way, to have sex. But the Black woman doesn't serve to occupy the post of girlfriend, only lover, because always white men will prefer the standard of status, or white men will prefer the standard because of status to display a girl that is seen as beautiful to society. Okay. Now, a lot of Black women say that this is the same standard that Black men treat them as if, okay, I'll get with you tonight. We can have a little fun, but when it's time for me to get serious, I'm going to choose the white girl. Here's another one from 2018 saying, I don't want to be your friend, the precarious state of Black women's love lives. And here we go. Here's another one. Let me see here. So for this particular article, the woman who wrote this, she interviewed some women to get their opinions. And number 3 and number 4 of the questionnaire says, have you ever dealt with Black or white men? What differences did you notice between the two? And somebody responded, I was hypersexualized by both of them, Black and white men, deprived by both, hidden by both, right? So this is something that you consistently hear from Black women. You want to be with me in a situationship, but when you want the relationship, you go after a person who's white, or what you could say Brazilian white, something off-white, right? Another piece from 2017. But if I were Snow White, would you marry me? What they call Snow White in Brazil is Branca de Neve. The construction of the affectivity of a Black woman deconstructing fairy tales. So let's see. Okay, so this is another woman's experience. She says, they only see my vajayjay. From men thinking I was available, mostly sexually available at all times, or a relationship in which I was often betrayed. And when not betrayed, I was the other, the lover on the sly, that we only see each other on Mondays, that I should pay our bills and our dates. Let's stay together without anyone knowing. After all, keeping it hidden was more delicious, right, Black woman? She says, and I made it so hot, but I was never free to meet your family. Okay. So again, this idea of men hiding them when it's time to assume a public relationship. It's like they're saying Black and white men treated them this way. Let me see. Okay. This is yet another article. Let me check what year this one is from. This is from 2016. So let's get into this one right quick. Just look at the numerous reports of Black girls who were hidden in their entire lifetime in relationships while men insisted on parading their white women. So this is an article that, again, I went through this. I featured probably a couple of couples in here. This is a famous picture of Gisele Bündchen, the former Miss Tom Brady, right? And this article is just saying, look, we need to recognize our palmitage or the preference for white skin. And it's, the article is saying that, both men and women do this. It's not about pointing the finger at the man or the woman because we are all palmiteros, all of us, some in deconstruction, others not. So this article was written by a male, actually. It's Caio Cesar dos Santos. And that's what he's saying. It's like we need to recognize that this affects both the black side, I mean, the black males and the black women. All of us have, I mean, when you look at Brazil, and as I've said over and over, black Brazilians have been treated, they have been raised to prefer white skin for partners to lighten their offspring until eventually what they call the black stain disappears, from the future of the family. So this is something that just can't be glossed over. I know I talk about this a lot, but like I said, I can't, I have to always put this in context about what's going on in Brazil. So, the whole thing of palmitagem, it springs out of embranquecimento, this ideology that says you must whiten your family. Okay. Honestly, a lot of people are talking about that. So let's get to what some of the comments that people had to say about Erika Januza's words. One guy says, the first comment says, but it happens to black men too. Again, I'm constantly seeing this opinion of black men saying, look, this doesn't just happen to black women. This happens to black males too. He says, but it happens to black men too. If they are not rich or famous, we are objectified as the well-endowed guys. You know what that means. Two, somebody responded to him and says, well, she's not talking about you guys. Three, another guy weighed in and says, well, I have black friends who complain about it. So you have the first guy introducing this topic that this happens to black males as well. They say that black women only want a certain type of black male. They don't want your average everyday guy, right? So number three weighs in and supports what number one says, I have black friends, black male friends who complain about this also. So then the first person who made the first comment wants to reply to the person who made the second comment. And he says, hi, Daniela, what's up? I know she's not talking about us men, but as a black person, I consider it important that the place of speech is also for the male sex. Otherwise, we will be segregating ourselves by gender and distancing ourselves by the pain that unites us, which is prejudice against our race and color. I would like not to extend this discussion because I have always been affected by this issue. And now I am fighting a legal battle due to the prejudice suffered that generated my dismissal from work and a mental illness. I apologize. I just wanted to be supportive of the issue. So listen to what he says. This is an issue that's always affected him. This is what he's saying. Five says, yes, she speaks of her experience as a woman. Speaking of Erika Januza and what she said, a man also needs to verbalize about this objectification now that many are realizing that it is not a compliment to be considered well hung. Okay. So wherever you have black males in society, you're going to still have this image of the black male who's packing a third leg, right? It's a tried and true stereotype that you have in Brazil as well. No need to really get too much into the specifics here. I mean, we all know the image. We all know the stereotype. So a lot of, a guy said this the other day. It's like, if he doesn't have a six pack, if he doesn't have a whole lot of money, if he doesn't have a 12-inch schlong, then saying black women in general in Brazil don't want them. This is what men are saying. We can't just ignore what people are saying because both sides have a little bit right and a little bit wrong in this argument. What's next? The sixth comment. Man, I came into the comments to say the same thing, and I see your words. It is super true with us men. The same happens exactly in the situations you mentioned. Another guy saying this is what happens to men as well. I just wonder, how black men feel about this. Will this get the same publicity that black women had for the last 10 years on this topic of them not being able to secure a black partner or just a partner in general because of second-class citizenship of black women? Because wherever I'm seeing this argument, I'm seeing black men push back and saying this happens to us too. Look how you guys ignore the majority of black men and go straight for the cream of the crop. Where have we heard this same argument? Seventh comment. I've thought about it myself. And I came to the conclusion that no, love is not for all women. In addition to all the standardization of women's appearance and the standardization of the manner, the lines, and how a quote unquote real woman should act and behave, there is still the fact that she has the right color, the right hair. Does this apply to absolutely everyone? Of course not, but there is a standard with a very large percentage of Black women single mothers alone, serving only for a while for sex, and soon after the end, the ex marrying a white woman, with the Black woman being violated, psychologically abused with racist comments or about her appearance. So this is something else that you find in Brazil. This question of single Black women raising children. You know, I've heard numerous stories. I've seen it in the media as well among some entertainers, like, you know, they have children with their first wife who might have been Black. That marriage ends and you find them, you know, with a white woman. Just when people make these comments, it's like, you know, as I've said, as I've been studying this for years, I keep seeing the same comments. So, you know, both sides I don't think either side has the right to necessarily dismiss what the other side is saying. Continues, comment 7. The impression I got over 30 years is that Black women do not deserve to be treated as princesses and queens by men, even Black men, but as an object to be used and thrown away. Black Brazilian women speaking on this. 8, if a Black woman of the standard goes through this, imagine those with more Negroid traits. So what they're saying here is that Erika Januza has a certain look. She has a look that's being accepted by the mainstream media because even though she's brown skinned, she's considered to be attractive. Now, this is not me saying, you know, oh, she's pretty for a brown skinned girl. I'm saying this is the standard in Brazil. You know, if a brown skinned woman is going to get play in the media, she has to be very attractive. And from this comment here, you see, I mean, Erika Januza is clearly a Black woman, true, but people believe she has less Negroid features than a lot of, you know, other Black women. So they're saying if this pretty girl, who is the standard for what a pretty Black woman is supposed to be, if she's having these type of problems, imagine those who have more Negroid facial features. The 9th comment says nothing has changed. That's just the way it is. And number 10, another Black male weighs in and says, I don't believe any Black man doesn't want this woman. I really don't. So he's questioning this again. It's like, okay, so you're trying to tell me there's no Black man on earth who wants to get with Erika Januza? He's saying he's not buying it. So I'm curious to know what you all thought about this video. You know, I've followed Erika Januza's career since she first came out. And again, I'm not judging her because I don't know her situation. I don't know, is she another Black woman who honestly has just been ignored by the vast majority of Black men? I don't know. I don't think she's ever necessarily said that. Other public figure Black women have said this, you know, that Black men generally, I mean, I'm invisible to them. You know, there's something going on there. I mean, is she correct? You know, is she another victim where she's had relationships with Black men who don't want to go public with a relationship with her? You know, it's a fair question to ask. It's also a fair question to ask, okay, what's going on with Erika? Is there anything about her? Like I said, I don't know Erika Januza, so I can't make the judgment. I can just say what I've seen publicly, and I have to take in consideration not only what she says, but what Black men are also saying. So, just wanted to put this up because I thought it's another story that fits well with the topics that I've been talking about as of late. So curious to know what you all think about this. I know for people outside of Brazil, you may not be familiar with Erika Januza, but you know her story. You know, whatever, if you live in the United States, you're familiar with these types of stories. So I'm curious to know what anybody might think about what Erika had to say about how she's treated in relationships, right? Definitely drop a comment in the comment section. Consider subscribing to this channel so I can grow. Share this video. I'm quite sure there's a lot of people would be interested in knowing that this type of thing, part of this discussion that's been going on in the United States, you'll find it intriguing that it's going on in Brazil as well. You know, consider, again, subscribe to the channel, share the video to provoke the conversation, and also click on the notification bell so that you'll be one of the first people to be alerted when I post up a new video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and ask you all to come back and check out my next video.